Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create a very nice looking dashboard that has over 290 something submission. It's one data set with multiple stories. The requirement is actually just one single page, but we are going to create a multiple page in order to actually delve more deep to actually create something very awesome just for you. I am going to give you the over 200 submissions we've heard to actually serve as inspiration to you. But before we do that, let me just get down to the main one that we have just got created. Now, here is my own side of the story. This is one of it. And let me just go to the second one and let's see what we have right here. The Forbes World Billionaires 2022 had a lot of story to be told that can go beyond just a single page. So we've just gotten this particular multi-page created just for you. Together with you and I, we're going to create everything from the scratch. Among what we are going to learn is how to create templates from PowerPoint and make our visual look very nice and beautiful. As you can see, we have a lot going on right here. Let me just take you to PowerPoint to show you what it is that we have right here to be created. So now this cannot be created in Power BI, but PowerPoint will help us to actually handle this and other part of the dashboard. So we're going to learn how to do everything. So if you want to see how I create my dashboard, you might want to keep watching just to learn more about it. So welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to my channel before now, please do me that favor to hit the subscribe button, share this to your friends, and leave a like and leave a comment. Let me know what you feel about this. So let's get on it. Okay, everybody. To get started, we have to transform this data into what we want. Now, look at this column right here. It's giving us the wrong figure. You might be thinking like, fine, let me show you something. Now, if I come to this particular part right here, what we're looking for to having right now is 12.7 billion US dollars. But right now we want to calculate the one that is given to us in the data set, and after that I'm going to show you how to add in some kind of trailing zeros to actually make sure you have this figure as well. So now let's catch this right now. So I'm going to put my equal to right here and use the sum function. So going right here right now, I'm going to sum this column where we have our value right in, and it's giving us 12.7 million US dollars instead of 12.7 billion US dollars, right? Now, in order to have a figure like this, what are we supposed to do? We need to add some other columns. Like we're going to add two columns right now, writing some simple function to do that. So what will you do? I'm going to add a new column right now, and to add a column, I want to use shortcut Alt and Shift plus the plot sign you have in the computer at the top right hand corner. Okay, right now I want to name this transform. So under this transform, so we need to use a formula called repeat and length function. So how do we do that? First of all, let's do this. Control Shift, and I'm going to zoom closely, then we can see what we're doing. Okay, now what we do is this. I'm going to put my equal to right here. I'm going to reference this particular cell or this column, right? So now using the ampersand now is like, okay, I want to append some numbers of zero to this to make sure I have this particular, or every single cell right here in billions, because that is what it is. So now I'm going to have to write this repeat right here, Alt, and we have it. Now it's asking us how many, what do we really want to repeat? I'm going to repeat 0, but right now this 0 is going to show as a text, but don't worry, we are going to convert it to numbers. So I'm going to have my double quotation and have the 0 inside it. I'm going to have it closed right now. So if I have my comma, it's asking me a number times, like numbers of times I want to have the 0 repeated itself. Now this is what we cannot really say. This is how many times you want it, but I want to start with 12. So 12 right now. And what do we do to have the actual numbers of 0 right here is for you to subtract it. And for you to do this subtraction, we need to use the function called length, like L-E-N, length. That is a shortcut for length, right? And now I want to actually count how many do we have right here, and it's going to subtract that and add the trailing 0 for us, right? It is cool. So I'm going to have to close it like twice. Now I have the bracket I have open previously closed. I'm going to hit my enter key, and there I go. I have this. Okay, now you might be like, what is going on? Let's do one more thing. Control Shift and the plus sign will give you another column. Now we need to say value. Just let us write our value right here. So why do I do this? I want to transform this into a value. So you can name your column anything you want to have right on it. So now I'm going to type in my equal to and type in value right here. And I'm going to convert this because this is actually on a text format. So there is no way you can actually calculate this. If you really want to do that, you can apply some function on text, right? So the value, I'm passing it in right now. And I'm going to have this particular column highlighted. I'm going to go right here, Control 1, and go to currency and make sure you choose the $sign or $number formatting. I'm going to go this way. And now what I'm going to do right is just to highlight both of them and actually double click on this and have them fill all the way down. Now for me to test it out, if I have this expanded right now a little bit, and I'm going to have this one open up. So you can see all the numbers we have right here is on the right format and it's showing in billions. But this is actually weird. It's not giving us the kind of format we want. So when we go ahead and calculate this right now, let's see what we have. Let's do that for you to understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to go right here. I want to come right here right now for the first time. I want to change this column. I just want to go right here. I'm going to put my equal to right here. So we need to actually have this corrected before we go into the next level on Power BI. So right now, I want to sum this column this time around. So it's giving us something more huge than what we expected because something is wrong and weird. So we have to control that with what we call if condition. And then we're going to have this particular number. So, but right now, I want you to put your eyes down on what we have right here. 760.7 billion US dollars is what we have. So now we have to make sure we get it corrected. Okay, now coming back right here right now, here we are. So this is where we're going to touch. So we need to actually make some transformation right here. And how do we go about it? It's very simple and easy. So I'm going to come right here from this particular length. I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to copy. I didn't copy the last or close bracket. I only copied down to the bracket that we closed right here after the 2, which is the reference of this particular cell. So after I've done that, I want to go right here after our 0, which is after the numbers of what we have to repeat. I'm going to type in my if right here. In case you're missing something right here, what you need to do is to watch this over again, then you will get it. Then I'm going to have this like, okay, if this particular part right here got copied, which means if this cell, this is the cell length, if it counted and is equal to 6. So what I want you to give to me is actually go ahead and run this function right here. Do you get it right now? I don't know if you get it, but that is what it is. I don't know how to explain to you. I'm saying now, if this is right here, if you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the numbers of, of what we have right here right now is 6. So if it is equal to 6, go ahead and run this particular one right here. And if it is not, we're going to use that if condition right now, which is what we call nested if. So if it is not, sorry, let me just take it off and I'm going to have my comma, right? So now it's telling us if this is false, right? We're not going to actually apply the false right now. Instead, we want to need to add an if condition. So if this particular cell, cell right here is not equal to 5 in number, like numbers inside it, like when we count it is 5. So if it is equal to 5, so what I want to do is to run this same thing. Like I'm going to copy from here. I'm going to copy down to this particular part right here. I want to type it over again. So run this particular one. Can you see this right now? It's very simple and easy. I'm going to have it closed. So instead of me to run like numbers of 0, I want to add right now to be some kind of 12. I want to make sure it's just 11. You get it? It's just 11. Okay, nicely done, right? And if it is not, I want to copy this down to this particular aspect here. Ctrl C to copy it. And now we have to run the false, condition. Now to run the false condition right now, I'm going to paste this right here. So if it is not, that means just give me 10, add 10 zeros to it. It might look some kind of a little bit tricky, but there is nothing you can do than doing this to get it automatically. So you can add numbers of 0 over and over. Like you want to add, like for the first time we added 12, secondly we added 5, now we added 11, now we're adding just 10 based on a particular condition being met, right? Now this is going to make it automatic. When next time we add more data to this, we'll now see the changes. But before then, think about what we had before we left that particular sheet, like this sheet 2 right here. Okay, right now I want to have to close all the bracket I have opened. I'm going to close them, right? So have them closed. I'm going to hit my enter key. And now what I'm going to do right now is just make sure I copy this. And you see something changed. And now when we go back, what we're going to have is 12.7 US dollars, or billion US dollars. So going right here right now, voila, we have it correctly. Oh, don't get me twisted, right? This is absolutely correct. This is the only way to transform this, because if you go ahead and actually push this into Power Query down to Power BI, there is no way we can have the right figure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it is that you need to know about how to make this kind of transformation. You might some kind of like, what the heck have you done? So please take your time to evaluate this over and over again and see how it works from the scratch. Then you will know how to do this kind of transformation. Now we are done from here. Okay, now for the last time, what I'm going to do right now is that this is actually a data that might have, more data coming in next year for 2023. So what we're going to do right now, Ctrl T to make sure we turn this into normal formal Excel table. Then when we want to add more data right now, we put it beneath this and it gets this particular part updated for us. So now this is not what we want. Instead, this is what we want to create, an other part of the dashboard, which I had shown you in the introductory part of this particular, video. So right now, let's get down to the next level and see what it is. So now it is time to push this into Power BI. And now what I'm going to do is to go to File. And from File, I want to go to what? I want to go to something new. Click on New, and we have new PBIX inserted for us. Then voila, we can now start creating from the scratch. Remember, our template is going to be on PowerPoint. I'm going to show you 2 softwares at the same time. Or 3 softwares. We just left Excel, and now we're onto Power BI. And from Power BI, we are going to get to PowerPoint, where we create a very nice, amazing template for a dashboard. Okay, if you are just getting started on Power BI, this is what it is. This is the interface you're going to see for the first time when you launch it. And right now, what I want to do is just kind of connect to the data I have. So you have to know what extension of Excel you want to get data from. We have CSV, we have text file, and all of that. We have all other things, like all other extension, right? I'm going to click on get data, just like what I've done. Let's see what we have right now. Okay, before we click, if what we have right as an extension is actually text file, and we click on, Excel workbook, there is no way we can see any file right in there. So right now, what I have is actually Excel workbook. I'm going to double click it, and let's give it some time. And there we go. We have this, right? I'm going to click on this particular YouTube class right here. And here we go. We're just going to have to click on this. And now it's going to load this and give us option, either to push it to Power BI or to push it to Power Query. That is the kitchen of Power BI, where we can have, more brush up, on our data. And finally, we can actually get it down to where it is. Okay, now we have 3 different, is it column? I don't know. It's not column. Worksheet right here. So we don't need the practice one. We don't need the dictionary. All we need is actually the raw data. So I'm going to click on that. And now it's going to show us what columns we have right here. Now, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I actually click on load. No, I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and click on transform data, where I have to push this to Power Query. So give it some time. It's going to have itself loaded down to Power Query, where we can do some further cleaning. Okay, we have the data right here, but something is actually missing right now, because we've not saved the work we had done in Excel. So there is no way we could actually have the columns appeared right here. So we only have this value right here right now. But for we to make sure it actually appeared right here, I'm going to go down to my Excel worksheet. Here we go. And here we go. So Ctrl S will help me to save it right now. Once we have saved this, what we're going to do right now is to go back to Power BI and make sure we refresh. You go down here. Now, here we go. I'm going to click on refresh right here. So give it some time. You'll see the columns appear. Okay, now we have them appeared right here. Okay, because this one is actually on a text file. This is how it's going to appear. So what we're going to do right now, we need to make sure we convert this to number. And I'm going to click right here. I'm going to transform this into, this is a fixed decimal number. This is decimal number. This is a whole number. I want to transform this into a whole number, and this is what it's going to give to us. So now it gives us the value as a whole number. But don't worry about this. Once we get to Power BI, it's going to help us to handle this and give us the right, number formatting that we really require. Okay, should we are dealing with a very large file and numbers of columns, we might want to actually shrink this into something that will make a lot of sense, which would not affect our data whatsoever it is. I want to come right here. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hold my control. I'm going to have this highlighted as well. So once I've done that, I'm going to right click and go ahead and remove this column. So now, do you see that? Nothing is affected. It's just because I don't need to have that column, because I don't want to use it. And the year column as well, I wouldn't use it. And the month column would not be used as well to do anything in this analysis. But in subsequent time to come, if you know you want to use it, you might want to keep it, right? That is very important. But for me, I don't want to use them, right? I just have to get them off. Okay, right now, if I actually come right here and actually click on this right now, I can see I want to check if we have anything like null value. So because we want to deal with that, we don't want to have that right when we actually run our analysis and stuff like that. So you want to check that. Okay, instead of you to do this manually, why don't you just make sense with it by doing something very, automated? Like go right here, go to view instead and check column quality. You get this? Okay, now can you see what I've done? So now it's checking the quality of every single column for me. Now we have 100%, we have 100%. So when we keep going, we can see where we have this particular one to be empty. So what are we going to do? I'm going to click on that, and here we have null. So we have to replace this null with something. And how do we do that? So I'm going to come right here, just right click, and here we go. We have this particular replace value right here. I'm going to click on it. And this is the capital letter is very important for you to take care of. Like, it's actually on a small letter, so I'm going to type in null right here. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to say not specified, something like this. I'm going to have to copy it because I'm going to have to do this to all other columns, right? So once I'm done with it, I'm going to have to click on OK, and now we're going to have 0 right here. It's going to give us 100%. Can you see how that works? This is beautiful. So you have to do this particular transformation to all the columns that you have these errors right in. But before then, you might want to ask your boss or the client, like, what you want to replace with the null we have, right? So once you're being told to remove it or to actually put not specified, you can go ahead and do that. I want to make sure I put everything correctly into this particular video so that you should understand what I've done. I don't want to actually hide something or do something behind the scene. Right now, you can see we have 64% some kind of null right here or empty. So what we need to do is to do the same thing. We have to just go on replace values. And once we've done that, what we need to do right now, type in the null that you want to have to replace with this particular one we have copied previously. And what you do right now is to just click on OK, and let's say that. Now we have this. So I can actually do this to other part of it to keep the video short. Behind the scene, we do it and we come back and we continue the journey of our, dashboard creation. Okay, I have just gotten that filled up. So the only column I don't have that it's in touch, whatever it is actually this column that carries a number. So I'm going to leave it the way it is because it's not going to have, it's just, I know Power BI is going to treat it as 0. So we're going to leave it that way. And now that we're done with this, what we need to do right now is to make sure I'm going to type in here. I'm going to change this particular, one, double click it. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to say, net what. So net what is what I'm going to have right here right now. I have the original net what right here because already we have gotten it transformed. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just click right here and actually close and apply Now we are about to start the journey to creating this particular amazing dashboard we've seen previously. So let's get on it. Now we have to save our work to be on the saver side. So I'm going to go save, and we have to choose where we want to have this particular work saved in. I'm going to save it right here. I'm going to type in here as dashboard. So that is all. Okay, now we are leaving here to PowerPoint, where we have to create a beautiful, template for our work. Okay, this is the previous one we had created. So we have to create something exactly like this, and we're gonna do this together. Then you know what I've done and how you can actually come up with your own, design, custom design, whatever it is. Okay, I'm gonna actually have to add a new, one right now. I'm gonna get this off from here. We don't need it, and we have to change the size. And when we get to Power BI, we have to still work with the size we have right at Power BI. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the top level right here. I want to hit design, and from design, what we can see is this particular part where we have this slide size. So click on it and go to custom. So I'm gonna come right here. I'm gonna make sure I have this one at 6.811, and here is gonna be I think I want to turn this one to 6.29, so 6.29, and I'm gonna click on OK, and you wanna have to ensure fit. Here we go. So this is what we have right now. So we've just changed the height and the width, a nice dimension right here. Okay, what is next right now after this? So I'm gonna go to the top level. I'm gonna hit on insert, and from insert I'm gonna go to shapes, and from shapes I'm gonna click right on this. I'm gonna just drag it down. So go to the top level and let us be on the same page. So we have to make sure we change the height and the width. So I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be 6.81. So do the same thing I've done, and there we go. So we have this. I'm gonna fit it at the top level right here, just like this right now. So we have to change the color, and what we need to do right now is to make sure we Control 1. Oh, sorry, it's not gonna work that way. I thought we are onto Excel, but it's not how it's gonna work. It's not gonna work. So what you need to do now to come up with a shortcut, what I just want to get right now is when I right click on this, right? So what I say is this, and I'm gonna bring up my format shape right up. Okay, this is what it is. So right now we don't have to go through that. I'm gonna press my Alt J D and O, and it's gonna give me the same thing. So very snappy. If you know the shortcut, it's gonna make your life very easy. So then we have to do the formatting. So what I'm going to do right now is to go to this particular line. I'm going to take off the line because we don't need it. So go to field color right here, and we have to make sure we add our custom color. I'm going to go right here, and now I'm going to change the code we have right on this hex code right here. So we're going to have to do this. So you can see what numbers we have right here to give us the color we want. So once we are done with that, I'm going to click on OK. And there we go. We have something just like this. That is nice, right? That is nice. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do right now is to add some text. So what we need to do is just to go to the top level right here. I'm going to click on this particular text box. I'm going to drag it down, and we have to type in a text. So we just have our text right here, and we have to make sure we format it nicely the way it should be. So now with this text right here, right now, I'm going to have to make it smaller a little bit. And this is what it is. So I'm going to actually go ahead and push it to the top level. But before then, let's just see what we can do to touch it a little bit. So I'm going to go to the top level here. I'm going to go ahead and click in this particular one here. I'm going to turn it to white. So we can see it, right? Yeah. So push it to the top. Here we go. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to have to highlight this alone. I'm going to bold it. Put it on bold, and this is how it appears. Okay, instead what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to have to just highlight it alone, and I'm going to choose another font type. I'm going to choose something like this, and voila, this is what we have. So the boldness is not really important right now, and I'm going to have to make sure I expand it, and this is what we have right here. Can you see this? Beautiful. So the next thing is going to be for me to just duplicate this, and I'm going to have to move this right here quickly. Control A, and I'm gonna type in my dashboard right here. I'm gonna have to make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna have to bring it down this way. But now we are so much more concerned about the color we have to use for this. So we want to actually blend it with the color that our dashboard is going to carry, right? Now I'm going to highlight it. Yeah, I want to come to the top level right here. So we can actually add a color through here. I'm going to go right, more colors, and I'm going to go on custom. And here we go, right here, we will have to change the hex code we have right in here. Control V to paste the one I have right here. So you can see this, you can actually type it into your own, and there you go. You're going to have this. So I'm going to click on my OK, and let's go back. And this is what we're going to have. Nicely, right? So we're writing it. So let's see what is next right now, because we are about to build a very nice template for Power BI. This is what is not really possible right in Power BI, you know. So it's very much possible right here. Okay, right now we need to get a circle. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to have to like make it this way. Something like this. But right now we have to touch the height. Let's see what it is. So the height is just something I need to go ahead and... This is what I have for the height. Okay, now we have to make sure we set it right. I'm going to have to make sure I extend it this way. I want to go ahead and push it in, and this is what I have. So I have it divided now, so I'm taking the middle. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is that I don't want this particular part to be here, so I want to get it off. But before then, what we can do, Alt J, D, and O will help me bring this up. I'm going to take off the outline. Okay, right now let's change the color to something like this. Nicely. So once we are done with this color, so I'm going to go to the top level again. I want to go ahead and pick this up, and I'm going to drag this down. Yeah, something like this. I'm going to have to bring it right here. This is what it is. So we have to extend it this way to cover this place up, and we have to make sure it covers the top as well. So I'm going to shift it down a little bit. Something like this is really cool, right, for me. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, right now we've just kind of selected both of them. So I'm going to go to the top level right here. So we cannot see what we want. So just click on this particular shape format, right? Once you click on shape format, what you can see is this particular part right here where it says shape, text box, and this shape. So right now we have just made a wrong selection. If I go and subtract right now, it's subtracting the wrong part of this particular, shape for me. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to deselect it. Make sure you select the one you want to keep first. I want to keep this, right? I'm going to select the one I want to actually use to subtract out of it. So that is nice. So going back right here right now, I'm going to go right here, and this is what I have. Can you see how I did it? It's working right for me. Okay. I can actually move it down a little bit to make sure it's centralized. Okay, nicely. We have done this. What is next? Let's get on it. Okay, we need to create more shapes. So I'm going to go right here and select this particular triangle. Drag it down. So I'm going to go to the top level. So I want to have to change the height and the width for it. So here's going to be 0.98. 0.98. Here we go. Nicely. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I rotate this like this. Okay, now I want to move it down here like this. Okay, fine. So the same color I had used previously is what I'm going to use again. I'm going to go right here. Sorry for that. So instead of that, I'm going to actually have to use the shortcut Alt J D O. So we go. I'm going to go ahead and select something of the same. I'm going to take this off, and there we go. We have something like this. So after that, we just need to get a circle. Just drag the circle a little bit. So now we have to check the height and the width of the circle. Then we can have something of the same like the previous one we had created. So let's go ahead and do that. Come right here. So it's going to be 1.29 by 1.29. So we have something like this, right? So once we've gotten this right here, I'm going to have to take off the outline, and I want to actually make sure I have a fill for it. Okay, what will I want to have a fill for it? Yeah, for real. I want to have the same fill for it. So we go with this nicely. We have this. I'm going to have to duplicate this right away. Okay. So on the duplicates, I want to do the same thing again. Just have to go ahead and change this up. So can you see what I've done? The next one, 1.53 by 1.53. So we're going to have this, and quickly we have to change it to the color we want to use. Something like this would be cool for me, right? So, okay, now it's actually at the top of this one. So I want to take it to go behind it, send to back. This is what it is. So now all I need to do is actually, I just have to select it, and I have to do this by going to like, center, and I'm going to go right on the middle, and this is what it is. So now I can actually group them together right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on group, and now we can now move this. And this is what we've just gotten created. So now this is a replicate of what we had created before. So can you see where that is going? This is what it is that we have actually gotten created before, and we're trying to replicate this exactly so that you can know how to do this on your own. Okay, next is for me to take this and duplicate it. I'm going to move it to the top like this. I'm going to come here. So we have to change this part as well. So by 0.54, I presume that is going to be 0.54. So we have something like this. So now that we have this, let's see what we can do. We're going to actually have to rotate it by clicking on this particular one here. So you can rotate that. So I'm going to have to make sure it's this right here, just like this. I'm going to have to duplicate this. I'm going to have to move it down here. So we have to go ahead and rotate this nicely. So, can you see this? Right now it has been rotated. I'm going to have to make sure it's like this. So we can move this a bit. So now we have this. So what we can do now, the inner one is I'm going to have a double click, copy, Ctrl V will help me to paste it. So I have to adjust this to be some kind of a little bit smaller than what it is right now. So let's do that dynamically all together. Yes. So to have it done, you know what it is. You know the drill. So here we go. We're going to have 0.98 by 0.98, and this is what it is. And I'm going to have to double it, and I'm going to bring this one down here. So now we can actually have this right here, and I'm going to have this right here. So now we are creating something very, very awesome, right? All together. So you can see what I've done to create my nice template. It's all about like you sitting down to think of how do I actually tell this story? How do I format my shapes and stuff like that? And you're going to have this, and we are having something very nice. We did some pictures. You can go to Google and Google where you can get pictures from, but don't worry, I'm going to show you where you can actually get pictures from. So let's go and open my browser. So, okay, here comes my favorite icon site, like flaticon.com is one of my favorite icon sites. You can always go and actually, get icons from. So come right here and get lots of icons. So now you can make a search of anything you want to actually have, like, before we go ahead and actually use the one. So I'm going to type in people. I'm going to type in a lady or girl. So I'm going to type in just like, just be specific on the gender you want. And let us search this and see what it is that we're going to have right now. So now we have lots of them. So you can choose from it and all of that. I think you don't require any registration just to get it done. It's very simple, and it's kind of transparent, like in PNG format. That is what it is for you. So now you've seen what my favorite icon site is. So now if you've not used this before, go ahead and start using it and all of that. So you can go on outline, you can go on fill, you can go on shape, just try as much as you could to actually, walk around this and see what it is that we have right here, right? So now, beautiful. We've just got to know about this site. Very exciting. So let's go back. Cut this off. I don't want you to right here. Okay, now here we are. So we don't want to have to go ahead and start doing this from the scratch again. So because I've gotten this icon used previously before now, what I'm going to do right now is to use the same icon again for this. So what I need to do is just to make sure I copy this, and I'm going to copy this from here. And for now, copy. Now we go back down to the one we are creating, and we're just going to have it pasted. It's just this way. Okay, nicely. We can actually just make sure we adjust it to fit into what we want. So we move it down here. So we have to make sure we have this one like here. Okay, now we just have to just like do your remaining parts, because I believe by seeing it you must have known what I've done and stuff like that. So put in the male and the female and just segment them and see what it is. So when we get to Power BI, you now see the wonders that actually this template will do to help us to actually convey our message nicely the way it should be. So let's get to the next one, which is this one we have right here. Very important, absolutely important. So this is not going to be a big deal. So all I need to do is just to have this duplicated. I'm going to move it this way, and I'm going to come right here right now, come here. I'm going to have to just change the height and as well change the width to something just like this. So this is what I have. So now we can actually have this right here. So we duplicate it, and we're going to have this right here in the middle of it. We're going to have the next one right in here, just like this. So I might not get it perfectly the way I got the other one. So, you know, I always spend some time formatting my work. Even after days, I'm going to come back and feel like, okay, this is not sitting at the right spot, so I have to move this around. Please spend some time on what you do. That's going to give you what it is that you want. Okay, now that we've gotten this, what is next is for we to actually go back and pick the shape we want to use. So, sorry, the icons, and those are the icons right here. We can actually fill in this icon, and those icons are the icons you can actually get from what this site I've shown you, right? So now, can you see this right now? So we might want to make sure it fits into what we want, just like this. You know, just make sure you get them right inside it, and something like this will be very cool for us, right? That is nice. So we have one more part of it that we don't, you know, you might be thinking like, how did you do this? Very simple and easy. Let me go show you what I'm talking about. So here you go. We have this part right here, this copy part right here. And I want to show you how I did this. And it's very simple and easy. But excuse me, do I still remember how I did it? I don't know. So I'm going to go to the top again. I'm going to pick on this particular circle right here. I want to go to the top, and I want to change it 2.32 by 1.66. So it's going to give us this, and Alt JDO will help us to bring this up. Oh, it's not working. So now Alt JDO. So now here we go. So I want to have this removed for now. And after that, I just want to make sure I have it right here. Okay, I'm just going to have it right here. So once I've done that, what is next right now is just to go back to the top level. I want to go ahead and pick this up, and I just want to make sure I drag it down here. Okay, nicely. I want to make sure I use it to divide this, and here we go. Nicely, I have this. So once you have this right, so make sure you're covering every part of this particular part right here. So I want to keep this right. I have it selected for the first time. I'm going to click on this and go right here and make the subtraction. And here we go. We have this half one right here right now. So now I'm going to set it to back. I don't want to actually, you know, obstruct anything. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn it to white, just like this. So we can't really see it. It has just gotten faded into the background. So now click on this and go right here. I'm going to go on shadow, and from shadow, let's see what we're going to use. So I'm going to use something like this. Oh, this is what you've done? Crazy. So we have to reduce it a little bit. We just want to have a hint of it. Just like this will give us this particular kind of like moon, half moon, stuff like that. Can you see this? It's crazy. Okay, Let's see what is left that we've not really added, so we can explain that out and you can actually go ahead and create it. So we just want to get something like this and add it up and just get something just like this. And I know you know what it is that I've done right here. So let us not waste much of our time right here. If I go right here right now, you can see you have this. You can just drag it up and you can just, change it by coming right here, go right and actually flip it. You can flip it the way you like. Can you see that right now? And you can actually maintain how the flip goes, as in how the size goes, and you can put it up right just the way it is right now. So I believe we must have done like 90.2% of it. So the remaining part is very simple and easy, just like what I've done right here. Pick up a shape and actually make sure you transform it like this. So in case you are wondering how I did it, let this be your assignment, then you can do it all by yourself as well. Okay, now let us talk about how to move this template to Power BI. So how would you take this template out from here and take it up to Power BI? So I'm going to take up the completed one. I believe all the write-ups are very simple and easy for you to be created. It's very, very nice. So we've just gotten some part of it created. So go ahead and do the remaining part for yourself. Okay. What I'm going to do right now is just go and come right here and go to export. Once you got your exports clicked, this is what you're going to have. It depends on the version of Microsoft Excel or Microsoft you have. I'm having the complete package. The PowerPoint is 2019, and I'm going to click on what change file type. And this is what it is. So once you got this particular, interface, just go ahead and click on save as. And now it's going to give you a lot of options. So you can save as PNG. And you can save as GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? I don't know what it is. So I can actually open the extension part right here. So JPG or JPG or PNG or GIF. But I always love to save as JPG or GIF. So this time around, I'm going to click on GIF. I'm going to save it as GIF because I've gotten some other couple of, templates saved as GIF right before now. So it's showing me them. Just go ahead and do that and click on save. And there you have it. So because I've gotten this already saved, I do not need to save this again. So let's go to Power BI and see how we can actually take this down to a Power BI environment. So I'm going to cancel this up. And now we just have to go and see what it is that we have on Power BI. Just empty canvas. But this is what, this is not what we want because the size is actually too wide. So we have to compress the size to what size we want. So I'm going to click right here and we're going to start our journey from here. Let's do this. So what we need to do is to go right here, click on it that I had done earlier, go to canvas setting. And once you go on canvas setting, right? So what you need to do right now is to come right here and use a custom. So with custom, what we're going to do is just to make sure we use, we're going to use, I think it's 1200. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, here we have our first measure right in here. Let us see what first measure we want to create first that we're going to branch out from to get more measures being created to tell more stories. Okay, right now, for the first time, I want to know how many billionaires we have right inside our historical data set of 2022. Okay, now I'm going to create a new measure. I believe you know what we are doing right here because I don't want to look like, oh, this is some kind of like, what I don't understand. I want you to understand every single step. So in case you are missing something, the comment section is your friend. Go ahead and leave a comment. I'm going to have it insert. Okay, now, this is what it is. So now we're going to type in numbers of billionaires. So I'm going to use the hash key to stand for numbers. And I'm going to type in my billionaires. Okay, we have a suggestion for us, so we can actually go ahead and use this. Oh, sorry for that. I'm going to take it off. So I'm going to have my S right in here. So it's going to be equal to, and you know what it is. So you can actually type in. Now, what we want to do right now is to actually count rows. So count rows. So it's not count rows because we have every single row is carrying, some kind of like, how do I put this to you? is carrying a unique name of a particular, billionaire for that particular year being specified. So now count rows. Now what we need to count is actually counting the rows that is existing in our data table. Now we're going to push in the whole table right here, and this is the whole table raw data. So we can have it changed on Power Query, and we'll have something different. So now if I hit my enter key, I'm going to have the measure committed, and we have our first measure created. That is good. Beautiful. Okay, now we've just known how many billionaires we have. We can branch out from here right now to how many male and how many female of those billionaires do we really have. That is after we might have just gotten this committed, which we've just got right here right now. So now for the first time, to top billionaire is here. We can actually make sure we push this down. Just click it. And we want to go ahead and go on visual and change the visual type to card. And now this is what it is that we have. And for that, I'm going to have to deselect the card itself. Okay, right now what I need to do is just for me to some kind of format this into normal number formatting by clicking on this particular invite. Is it invited comma? Yeah, this comma, this separator, comma separator, right? Comma separator is going to be right on it. So now I have the right figure, but that is not all. What is for me to just make sure I format it to something I really love. I want to go right here on this particular format your report page. And once I've just gotten that clicked, am I making sense with this? So we just have to make sure we click on the card we want to have formatted first. And it's going to give us this. So once we have just gotten that clicked, let's see what we're doing. So I'm going to go right here and take off the label. So it's gone. It's no more there. So we just want to go right here to genre. I'm going to go right to this effect. I'm going to turn off the background so we don't have more background for it. That is gone. So that is nice, right? Okay, beautiful. Okay, right now I just want to click on this particular call out value and I want to change the font. I want to go right down a little bit. I want to go ahead and use something like this. And I want to make sure I use 60. So we're going to have it popped out a lot. Okay, now we have this. I can actually go ahead and make sure I shrink it a little bit. And after that, I'm going to move it down to this particular part right here. Oh, very sweet of you. Okay, nicely. We have it, but I don't want to have it in black. Instead, I want to change the color to match my, template. How do we do that? So I'm going to go right here. So from there, choose more colors. We're going to have this right here. So the color we have used right on our template is what we're going to use. What we are still using right now. And we just have something like this. So now we can see the total numbers of billionaires is 2668. And that is beautiful. Now we want to see how many, self-made billionaires do we have and how many non-self-made billionaires do we have. So measure to be created, something we call branch out. Nicely. Let's do it. Okay. So what do? We need to add a new measure. There are so many ways to add measures. So you can actually right click to add your measure right here, just like what we had done previously by adding it right here. Or you can actually click on new measure from here and you are still going to have the same thing. How about that? I don't know what you think, but I believe this works as well. Okay, now we are going to add a new measure to calculate like how many self-made billionaires do we really have? And we have to be very specific. This time around, we're trying to break it down to how many of them are male and how many of them are female. Okay, don't forget we have what we call data dictionary right here, which tells you what column you're dealing with and what that particular column stands for and all of them. Now, let me show you something. We have self-made. So once we actually click on self-made right now, it's saying that is billionaires what self-made? Like, does he really make his what? Like myself right now, I'm a self-made guy. If I'm a millionaire or if I were a billionaire, I will call myself a self-made because I'm not working with the government, neither if I'm working with any private organization as an in-house data analyst. I do my things from home, so I'm going to call myself a self-made billionaire. Okay, let's go back to Power BI to see how we can actually, create that, right? So I'm going to put in my equal to right here. Don't forget we had actually calculated how many billionaires we have. Right now, what we need to do is to branch out from that particular calculation. So how do we do that? We're going to use a function called calculate. Do you get it right now? Beautiful. So now that we've just used this particular function called calculate, what do we pass in as an expression? We're gonna pass in that particular measure we got created. So now we just have one single measure right now. If I press this particular, I don't know, should I call it brace? Maybe brace, right? So on my keyboard, it's gonna give me just all the measures without including any other columns. So right now, I want to choose this measure right here. So my comma. So right now, I need to pass in a column and actually be very specific on what I want and actually get off what I don't want by using that as a filter. So what column do I want to have right now? I'm going to have a self-made column right in here. So we have a column named self-made. But before we do that, let's see what inside this column, what do we have? I'm going to go to Excel. It's very snappy. So I'm going to go to raw data. I want to go on the self-made. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can see under the self-made, we have true and false. I'm going to show you how to deal with true and false, or how I did deal with it. Okay, let's go back. So we should understand what we have in the column before we can be able to specify what we want Power BI to do for us. Okay, now I'm going to say where self-made is equal to true. Sorry, that is going to be, let's go do that. True. So you don't need any double quotation. No, that is not what it is. So, and again, after that, we want to specify under column, not just where self-made or billionaires are true, whatever it is, but as well, we have to be very specific on who do we want to calculate for. Now is the gender. So I'm going to say gender. So gender column is here and is equal to now inverted comma male. We are calculating for male. I'm going to have this closed and all of that. So before you dare do anything, you must understand what do you have set in your column. So male is represented with just and that is all. So if I hit my, keyboard right now, let's see what we have. And this is it. Okay, now I can actually go ahead and copy this, copy and Ctrl V to paste it down. That is all we can do. So I'm going to have to make sure I move this right here and have this deselected. And I'm going to go ahead and, bring this on to it. And it's giving me this particular value. And I'm going to go ahead and have comma separated right on it. And this is what it is. We can actually, format it nicely the way we want. So we have 1,790 total self-made billionaire that are male. Whatever. Okay. Okay, right now I have to make sure I format it. Just go right here, and I want to go right here, and we just want to put this on 25, and I want to make sure I have it in something like this kind of black color. So just want to reduce it a little bit, and I want to have to move it right here. This is numbers of billionaires we have, so I'm not some kind of saturated with the kind of black I'm using, right? So let us use something cooler than that. Okay, fine, nicely. So now, not self-made billionaire right now. How do we calculate that? So in case you're actually wondering, like, how would you do that? I'm going to bring it all the way down. So now we have to go ahead and actually copy this. And just Ctrl A to highlight, Ctrl C to copy. And we just have to click on this to actually create a new measure. And once we are actually done with creating this new measure, I'm going to pass in this one right here. I'm going to type in none. So none like this. And once you are done typing that right there, I'm going to type in false. So here it's going to be false instead of true. I'm going to type in my false. My false right here, and that is all I need to change. That is just all I need to change. So because we are still calculating for male, so we don't have to change that particular gender part, right? So I'm going to hit my enter key, and now we should have it. Okay, so if I actually click on this right now, so if I go ahead and deselect this, I'm going to have this right on it, and it's giving me the numbers. So we just want to actually have some kind of precaution by actually adding this, even though if we don't have it in 1,000, maybe subsequently if we add new data, it will grow and we don't have to start thinking what have we done right here? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've just done this for what? We've just done this for male, and we can do the same thing for female. It's still the same replicant of this that you're going to actually have right here. Make a little tweak, and that is all you need to do. So right now it's very simple and easy. We have to calculate, total net worth, which is very simple and easy, and I believe you can do this. Okay, let's do it together. Right click, new measure, and that is all. It's a simple aggregation. So we just want to type in net worth. So net worth is going to be equal to, using the sum function, and we just have to calculate the net worth, and here is the net worth column right here, and we just have to close this and hit enter. And what we need to do right now is to make sure we format it nicely the way it should be, and that is all we need to do. And how do we go about this? I'm just going to go right here and actually choose this particular dollars number formatting for it, and that is all. And after that, we have to push it into a card and see what it is that we have done. So all I need to do is to make sure I double my card. So I'm going to double this card, duplicate it. I'm going to have the net worth right here. So right now, I'm going to have to deselect this. I'm going to bring in my net worth. So we got it. 12.7 trillion. This was what we got previously before now, right in Excel when we calculated it. So right now, Power BI is giving us the same thing, and that is very, very interesting. So average net worth right now is very simple and easy. What we need to do is just to use the average function, and voila, we are good to go. So are you cool with my tutorial? In case you've not hit the like button, you might want to do that and consider actually sharing this to your friends and family. And if you've not been a subscriber on my YouTube channel and you're still watching, go ahead and hit the subscribe button to keep this channel growing and for me to keep coming with more and more videos every single time. Let's continue our journey to creating a very nice looking dashboard. So right on this one, I want to pop it out a little bit. So click on it, and I'm going to come right here. So let us go here, and let us use, instead of 25, I want to use 30. That is nice. So, and I want to have to make sure I move it something like this. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So click back on it again. C copy, V to paste, and we can now move this right here. And we just want to paste it one more time, and I want to have this right, so deselect it, and we just have to make sure we go ahead and move it. I'm gonna have this right here. So right now, to calculate the average, right, what it is that you need to use. So it's very simple and easy. New measure, and we just want to use the average function, and we just put in the column right there, and voila, we have what we want. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we just want to use the average, like AVG. So for average, so average net worth. Average net worth is going to be equal to average as a function. So average, and I want to pass in the net worth right here, which is this particular net worth we have right in here. And we're going to close it, and I'm going to hit my enter key, and that is all that we have to do. And once we are done with that, I'm going to actually still use my, dollar number formatting. That is all I need to do. So right now, I just need to make sure I fill it with this one. I'm going to deselect this net worth. I want to pass in my average right now. Okay, now we have 4.76 billion US dollars as an average. Okay, we have the age, average age. How do we calculate this average age? We just have to do something. Let's see what we're going to do. All right, before we go ahead and create the age group, the average age. So we need to actually create an age bucket, like grouping the ages together. So what do we do? How do we do that? We have to go back to Power Query to have it done. Follow me to Power Query and let's see what we can do. Okay, clicking on this particular transform data will take us back to Power Query, where we can re-edit what we had done previously or actually add something new to tell more stories. Okay, now I want to have this particular, one clause. Go to view and select this, and now we've just gotten that compressed. Okay, now we have our age right here. Now we're about to create an age group. So what we need to do is to actually add a conditional column. I'm going to add column. I'm going to add conditional column. Let's see what it is. Okay, now on this conditional column, what I'm going to do right now is to type in like age bucket. So age bucket. Do I get my bucket right? Please pardon me for that. So right now, what column do I want to transform is what you need to actually have selected right here under the column name. So I'm going to select the age. And what do I want for the age? That is what is very important right now. So now I want to say where the age is greater than or equal to. Do you get it right now? Greater than or equal to 80. So 80. So what do we want? I want to just type in here 80 and above. So we just have to type in here 80 and using the ampersand to stand for an. So above. So we need to actually add more clause. So now we still have to specify the same column for it. I go with the same column. So now this time around, I'm going to say where it is equal to, it is greater than or equal to what? Equal to 60. So 60. And what we need is going to be 60 to 79. 60 to 79. So it's going to be 60 to 79. So I actually put a lot of consideration into this before I do this. So now you have to calculate how many years do you have between 60 and 79. And it has to be the same thing all through down to the last part of this. So let's do this. So we are adding more clause right now. So the next one I'm going to do right again is for me to still select the same age. We go with the same age. And this time around and say where it is equal to or greater than 40. Or it's greater than or equal to 40, sorry to say. So I'm going to have like 40. So now what we need to do now is 40 to 49. So it's going to be 40 to 49. So now adding on that one right now is to help us to actually, identify which of this particular age group we not specified. And why am I doing this? So I'm going to say where this is actually equal to. This time around I'm going to be using equal to 0. Okay, right now what am I saying? There are some of those billionaires that their age were not specified. So it was some kind of blank. And blank is actually, or null is known as 0 in number. So now we are going to say that those people were not specified and want to actually count how many of those people were not specified. So now I'm going to say not specified or unspecified, not specified rather. So, yep, I think it's going to be not specified or unspecified. Either of it. Unspecified. Unspecified. So now the next one is going to be age, gonna add on that clause. So I'm going to say age. We're going to go like this. I'm going to say age. I want to say is what is greater than or equal to 30. Right? So if I come right here right now, it will be 30 to 39. And, else, what do we want? It's going to be below 30. Oh, goodness. Below 30. That is beautiful. So we've just gotten this created, and I believe you understand what we have done right here. Check the interval between 40 to 49. How many years we have right there. You now know what it is that I've done before we just start to decide how we can actually create our age bucket. This is what it is. So use the idea you have right here and apply it on your own personal, data. You might not have the same data just like this, but I want to show you, example on how to do something like this in case you have any issue with like, how do I transform this data? You'll be like, oh, I think I've seen this guy did it in his video. I remembered. So I can actually go ahead and do the same thing. That is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK right now. And we've just added a custom column and we have everything ready for us. So what do we do right now? We have to push this back to what? Back to Power BI environment and we are good to go. So now click on close and load and now let's see the magic. So it's taking a little while. So just give it some time. It's going to be right here. Okay, here we go. We have just created our age buckets. Okay, I'm gonna go to Power Query right now. Let me show you something. For you not to have any error while you create this, I want you to do something for me. It's very, very important. You must do that. I'm going to take you down to where I want you to actually have something transformed. Okay, you want to come right to this particular age group right here. Sorry, right to this particular age right here. The empty is actually giving you an error, which is going to be null. So make sure you replace null with 0. Then it will definitely work perfectly. That is all I just want to show you. So I'm going to close this up right now. Okay. So now we can now calculate the average age of what we have right here. So I want to just go right click and create a new measure. And now we just want to calculate the average age for, our billionaires in this particular data set. So I'm going to type in avg age. So I'm going to type in my average function right here. So average, and I'm going to pass in my age, and you know what it is. So here we go. We have this particular age right here. I'm going to have it closed. I'm going to shut it down by clicking the enter key. Will now help me to commit it right for me. Okay, after that, I'm going to have to go ahead and select this network. I'm going to put in my average age right there. So which means the average age is 64 point something. So let's do this. So let us have this one on 0. You can see where my cursor is. I'm going to have to just tap it. So let's see what the average age is. So now we have the average age. So now the next thing we're going to do right now is to see what we can do to actually see the age group based, age buckets based on the gender type we have right here. I want to select my kind of chart I want to use for this. Let me just select this particular hosted bar chart right here. And I'm going to have to move it all the way right down to this particular expert. Okay, what we can do right now, I'm just going to have to expand and show you one example that you can do it all by yourself. Okay, now let's go right here and actually go for the age group bucket. So we have it. We can't really have anything right on it right now. I want to bring up my total billionaires. Okay, we have it just like this. And now we know we can't really do much with this. I'm going to have to filter it based on the gender. So we want to create filter, but we can actually write a DAX that will help us to actually, shrink what we want down without using any filter. But right now, I think it's very best for us to use filter. And remember, we have 3 levels of filter right here. The first level is filter on this visual, which is the filter that's going to actually affect this visual alone. And the second level of visual we have right now, the visual filter we have right now, is filter on this page, which filter all the visuals or all the tiles in this page and cards on this page. And we have filter on all pages. So right now, we're going to be dealing with this particular filter on this visual. So what I'm going to do right now is just for me to just go ahead and close this app. I'm going to open this app and I'm going to go right for where I have my, gender right in. So here's my gender. So I want to move my gender right here. Just make sure you move it. So move the gender right here. So under the gender, so we just want to select all, just select it. And what I want to have is actually the male. So I want to have the male. And so this is just all. So we just got it for the male. I can actually have this closed. And let's see how we can actually format this particular chart nicely to look very cool on what we want. So I'm going to have to close this. Then we have something like this. Okay, after that, what I'm going to do right now is just to come right here. Now it's time for me to format our charts. The y-axis and the x-axis is what we need to actually work on very well. So now turning off the x-axis right now, if I just turn it off, what you see is that this particular wants to go on, but the label will still remain. So have it on and actually have it opened. And we just want to scroll down a little bit and now turn the title off. So after you might have turned the title off, it's gone. So you can actually turn it off and actually have it closed or collapse, whatever it is. So now we want to do the same thing again. I want to go right here and turn off the title. That is all I just want to turn off and all of that. So you can actually make sure you put this in bold because we want to see it so well and stuff like that. So I can actually go ahead and expand it out so we can see it clearly. But that is not really all we really want to do. And we can just go ahead and this is the value area. So we can collapse it. Now for the data bar, we just want to scroll down a little bit. So we just scroll down So we just want to change the color of the data bar to a color that is going to match our background. So we just want to go with something like this. That is very cool. So we love it, right? So after this, you might want to actually include the data label right on it. So you just have to look for the data label. So we just have to scroll down a little bit in there. So we go ahead and see data label right here. We have to turn it on as well, and you have to actually work around it to make sure it pops out very well. And that is all you need to do. Go to value and make sure you have it on bold, and you can actually crank it up a little bit to make sure it fits right into what you really want. And that is all you need to do. So select a very nice looking, cool, number stuff like that you want and all of this. So now this is what it is. So now this is just a sample of what you need to do. So we just created one side of this, and this is what you can actually use to replicate this particular other pad. If I take you down to the one we had created completely, this is what it is that you have. So you might be like, what are you talking about? Why don't you create it all? So it's very simple and easy. I don't want to waste much of your time to do this over and over again. You can actually create the label for it, or the header for it rather, to actually signify that we actually watching the male gender part of our billionaires of 2020. Now this is what Power BI can do. Very awesome. So we've gone through a lot to format the number, to add some kind of trillion zeros to it to actually create billions, which is a trick you might have never thought of if you see the data for the first time. And this is what you can apply to your own personal data. Subsequently, if you have projects and you be think what the heck? Oh, I saw somebody did this on YouTube. And you have to do the same thing again to actually get what you want. So ladies and gentlemen, we've just come to this conclusion, of this particular dashboard right now. So see you in the next video where we create the other awesome part of this. More story to be told. You know what it is. So keep watching and subscribe and watch the next video, because you're going to have more detailed dashboard coming up your way right now. So if you're still watching, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good luck on your journey to become a very good and, best data analyst in your area and in your industry. Let's see in the next part of this video.